Hey y'all, it's Zeph again with another video, this one addressing the topic of Satanism and how people confuse it with paganism. Considering this one relies so much on graphics and different symbols, I figured I'd make this video a voiceover. I try to learn a little about everyone's religious and spiritual beliefs and opinions, and it's something I find very fascinating, so I was very excited to see that this topic fell during sub week, especially considering I already know a bit about the topic. So I'm making this before I see everyone else's videos, but I'm assuming that they'll cover what paganism is, what Satanism is, and then why they're not the same, in that order. But for me it makes more sense to go the other direction and work my way up and backwards. So, that being said, let's get going. When the general public thinks of Satanism, they think of Satan worship, when really there's atheistic Satanism and theistic Satanism. Theistic Satanism is what we think of when we hear the word Satanism, which is actual Satan worship. It generally doesn't stem from the belief that one would worship a nasty, evil entity, rather that they find Satan as a more relatable entity than God, in the sense that Satan would allow more, quote-unquote, human nature, and faults not limiting self-indulgent experiences. However, there are some people who are truly drawn to that evil side, and these people, they curse and hex and kidnap people and torture babies and make goat sacrifices and all that stuff that gives Satanism a bad name. I personally would not consider these people as pagan, as I see that the devil that they worship tends to be extremely Abrahamic in origin, and paganism is a non-Abrahamic path, or a series of non-Abrahamic paths. Atheistic Satanism is much more common, and is more so the teachings of Anton LaVey and his Satanic Bible. LaVey started this Church of Satan in April of 1966, so it is a very, very new religion. Members of the Church of Satan are actually atheists and do not believe in God or the Satan that others believe that they worship. As stated in Wikipedia, and I quote, "The Church views Satan as a positive archetype who represents pride, individualism, and enlightenment, and as a symbol of defiance against the Abrahamic faiths, which LaVey criticized for what he saw as the suppression of humanity's natural instincts." End quote. In my personal opinion, the best way to describe their beliefs and code of conduct is do no harm but take no shit. I'll leave the link to the Wikipedia page on their beliefs down below, as a bunch of them are really cool and thought-provoking and can actually align with the more traditional religions, such as how 2 of their 11 satanic rules of the earth are: do not make sexual advances unless you are given the mating signal, and do not harm little children. Both forms of Satanism are easily recognized by their pentagram/inverted pentacle symbol, with the sigil of Baphomet being the official symbol of the Church of Satan. The alchemic symbol for sulfur can be seen in the Satanic Bible, and many people look at it as a satanic cross, which is actually a lot more accurate than the inverted cross. In more current years, an inverted cross has been seen as an anti-Christian symbol, especially with the rise starting back into the 70s, maybe so far as the 60s, but really the 70s, when we see movies and instances such as the Amityville Horror, and working the way upwards with movies that are very oriented towards Satan and demons and demonic possession. But if you look at its history, it dates back to St. Peter, one of the 12 apostles who was executed by crucifixion, but felt unworthy to die in the same manner of Christ. So he requested that he be crucified upside down, and many educated Catholics and Christians will now look at an inverted cross as a sign of humility, which is its original intent. Paganism is an umbrella term for earth-based theistic religions and spiritualities that aren't the Abrahamic religions of Christianity, Judaism, and Islam that do not even believe in a devil, therefore who cannot worship it. I do personally believe in a devil, but I will post a video explaining why on my own channel sometime soon. The most common symbol for those following the pagan path is the pentacle, which is a star pointed upwards surrounded by a circle. Each of these points stand for a different element: air, fire, earth, and water, with the top point, the most important, representing spirit and energy, and the other 4 being representative of things of this world. Besides the idea that if something is not of God, it must therefore be of the devil, I find that the confusion boils down to the mixing up of a pentacle and a pentagram. Pointing downwards, it is a pentagram, and kind of looks like the traditional Abrahamic image of Satan that everyone is used to. 2 horns, a pointed mustache, and a pointy chin. Pointing up, it is a pentacle and it's a star. One way I tend to explain it to others is that when the point is down, it puts less emphasis on spirituality and more emphasis on worldly things, whereas when pointing upwards, there is more of an emphasis on spirituality and less, although balanced, emphasis on worldly things. So basically when it's pointing down, you get to turn that frown upside down and you get the good stuff. Even though, you know, atheistic Satanism really isn't all that bad. I personally find that once I clarify the difference between the two when explaining it to people in my day-to-day life, it opens up the conversation and curiosity into different people's beliefs, which I think is so important to being able to tolerate, understand, and love others, as well as becoming a more well-rounded individual. Thank you guys so much for watching. I can't wait to talk to y'all again on this channel, but until then, you can catch me on my own channel, Zeffie Bagheera. The link will be down below. Toodles!